Hi everybody and welcome to Path of Peace. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Today we will be talking about ancestral healing, family healing. What is it that you can embrace within that family history, within that family response to life? What is it that you can heal? What is it that you can let go of or change, shift through your practice, through your loving kindness, through your meditation, through your life choices? Before we will dive into these groups, I would love to do once and again a short mindfulness practice to center our energy, and then you can go ahead and choose from spread number 1, 2, or 3. I will put the timestamps down below. I would also like to give gratitude to my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to this channel, and thank you for allowing me to be in this space and co-create with you and practice with you at the same time. So let's just start with the practice. I would love to invite you to really just be aware of this moment. Allow yourself to calm down your mind. Be aware of your breath. Please do not do this practice if you are operating machinery or driving or doing something that needs your full attention. Just to mention it before we will dive deeper. And just allow yourself to really sink deeper, connect on a deeper level with this beautiful present moment. And you can put aside all these to-do lists and worries and fears. You can even imagine it almost like putting little stones aside. And if you need them later, you can pick them up or you can just leave them be. So putting aside all these worries and fears and to-do lists. Anything that is heavy right now, you can just let it go, drop it down. Coming back to your peaceful self. Coming back to your breath. And just allowing yourself to relax. And maybe you will notice that there is something around you in your space that is helping you to strengthen this inner refuge. Maybe there is a plant or a tree, or you can see a photo of a beloved family member. And you can feel that it is helping you to recognize those good things that we have in life that we can be grateful for. And that is helping us to anchor in the present moment, no matter what is going on in our life, no matter what is going on in the world. Just creating this very deep, peaceful inner refuge. And let's just use a very simple mantra to generate this peaceful, loving energy that can strengthen our resilience, that can strengthen our capacity to go through these very challenging times on earth as the best version possible. Let's just repeat this very simple mantra for a few moments. May I be at peace. May all beings be at peace. Just breathing in and breathing out. May I be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May I be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May I be at peace. May all beings be at peace. And just gently receiving this peaceful energy into your whole being, centering yourself in the space you are in this moment. Knowing that you have capacity to co-create a better world, that you have capacity and resilience, endurance, patience to walk through the challenges that you may have in your individual, personal life. Knowing that there is this inner refuge that you can always step into just by refocusing back on your body and on your breath. Thank you so much for joining me in this simple exercise. If you closed your eyes, you can open them up, being fully present in your body and in this moment. And you can join me as well for the readings. The timestamps are down below, and the theme is healing with ancestors. What is it that you may continue healing, or maybe what your ancestors would encourage you to heal in this moment? Let's just set this theme and see how it unfolds in those readings. And I will go ahead and I will start with reading number 1. Okay, so for those of you who chose reading number 1, this is like maybe the most important card from this spread. The theme is healing with ancestors. What is it that you can heal right now in your life in regards to your family system, in regards to your ancestors? Because on some level, we all are healers of our lineages. We have capacity to shift things to better. So you have whale. That's very powerful symbol, whale. I will pull out some more cards before I will continue with the story. So let me just pull out randomly some more cards that will further show the story. Okay, so with the whale card, it almost feels like there is this beautiful gift of communication, reclaiming back your voice. It is about maybe this deep connection right now in your life. It may change, as you continue. But right now it almost feels like there is this deep connection with the water. Water is incredibly healing element. It is the mother of the elements almost, I would say. So it almost feels like there is this calling to connect with the water, to connect with, and I feel like especially salty water for some of you, like that cleansing, that energy of the waves, like how they move effortlessly. There is maybe invitation to connect deeper with the sound. How do I work with the sound in my life? Am I surrounding myself by some kind of destructive music, or these very harsh frequencies from all these different rock music and these beats that are very unnatural for the body? Or am I naturally connecting with like these natural sounds, the sounds of water, the sounds of birds, the sounds of my voice, the sound of silence, because silence is like the mother of the sounds. So it almost feels like right now in your life you may be invited to dive deeper into some kind of healing that is connected with communication, expression, sound, and also history of the earth, because whale is like this beautiful symbol of records of the earth. Yeah, the ocean is also on some level like the symbol of the records of the earth. So you may be invited to discover these records. What is like my ancestral memory? How can I use my ancestral wisdom to bring maybe some healing into this world? Okay. It's like very powerful. It can be your strategy. The animal cards are beautiful to use in our everyday life as a strategy. Yeah, so using the strategy of a whale, connecting with the sacred waters, connecting with the sacred sound, connecting with maybe some deeper memory, maybe memory from your childhood, and healing these memories, healing these imprints. And it's like it's easy to say, hard to done, but there are practices. There are practices. There is like a little thing that we can do every day, no matter what is the situation. What I love, for example, about mindfulness is that everything can be part of your practice. The good things, the bad things, everything can be part of your practice of awareness. Okay, and then you have Four of Pentacles, Five of Wands, Ace of Swords. Let me just tune into the story. And what is it that you may be healing within your ancestral lineage right now? Four of Pentacles is a very interesting card because it is usually connected with rigidity, with control, with contraction, or with greed even. Or it is also like this type of energy that is like, I have my own ideas, and that is how it is. Like it's like very rigid, very sharp, very materialistic. It can also be very materialistic energy. These are like more the darker sides of the Four of Pentacles. The lighter side of this card is stability, capacity to earn money, capacity to be stable. However, it is important to keep in mind with this card that there needs to be some kind of like openness or generosity. Otherwise, it gets like very controlling, very rigid, this energy. So it almost feels like there may be some kind of invitation to maybe start looking at your abundance in a different way and how you earn money, how you feel stable in your life, what are your economic securities, and where do you place your stability in your life. It is maybe invitation to heal. Am I way too egoistic or materialistic in some ways? Am I way too stuck just just in this how to say like this hamster wheel of earning money, paying the bills, because it can also be connected with this. How do I perceive my abundance? How do I connect with economic prosperity in a healthy way that is not like just like this superficial how to say materialism? It almost feels like you are invited, because Five of Wands is energy of conflict. It almost feels like people fighting among one another. There is like this high level of competition. We can't find the same goal in life. So it almost feels like you may be invited right now in this moment in your life to heal some kind of unhealthy competition, fighting. Maybe your ancestors were fighting a lot. Maybe you were from a big family where everybody was just fighting. Maybe there were also some struggles with, like control and property and these more like economic things. It almost feels like you are some kind of like a higher soul in your family, which would be the frequency of the whale, because you are connected with a much deeper records of who we are, what we can achieve in this world, how we can continue evolve in this world. And then suddenly there's like this confrontation with this very materialistic, competitive world, or very rigid energy, and you are asked to somehow clear it. Because Ace of Swords is clear communication, clear vision, finding a clear communication, communicating clearly, finding a clear vision, for finding a solution for unhealthy competition or competitive environment, finding clear solutions and healthy communications in conflicts. It almost feels like, bringing peace into some conflict, bringing peace into, and maybe some kind of even healthy movement into these rigid energies. This is interesting. On some level, it almost feels like you can leave this situation. Yeah, that you can somehow cutting through the conflict, maybe leaving these very materialistic, growth-based, competition-based environments may be good for you. Okay, it is interesting. There is like, you can overcome any obstacle. There is a symbol of overcoming obstacles with this huge piece of rock in your way. So it almost feels like there is some kind of like a huge piece of rock standing in your way. Maybe it is even something from your ancestors and from your culture, or from the collective in the part of the world where you live. Maybe there is like a lot of conflict in the area where you live. Maybe there is a lot of economic struggle, or maybe like holding power and control. And there are like these huge obstacles, but there is capacity. The reason why you are getting these messages is that somehow you have keys to walk through these obstacles. Somehow you have keys to soothe these conflicts or come out of these conflicts and leave them. Because you have Ace of Wands, because you have capacity for this clear communication. Maybe you're just invited to have this clear communication. Maybe you are invited to have some kind of clear vision. But it is interesting, the symbol of the sword, and here is the sword. Here is the sword in the stone, in this huge piece of rock, like stuck. And here is the sword, and it almost feels like you can take the sword back. You can take your power back. You can take your vision back. Even if you are living in some kind of very competitive environment or a lot of conflicts, maybe a lot of greed, a lot of control and hard to change things or flow in it, even if that's the case, it almost feels like your power is somehow stuck in it. It can also be for some of you that your power is stuck in some kind of inner conflict. That maybe you are distracted so much that you can't use your energy properly. And suddenly there is like this, come out of this. Pull your energy back to yourself. Come back to yourself, come out of it. Get back your vision, get back your clarity. It almost feels for some of you that it's not your burden to carry. It's not your obstacle that you should be using your power to remove. It almost feels like just pull your energy out of it and leave it. Pull your energy out of it and leave it. Hopefully it will make sense. Because I am still like reminded here, and connecting with the whale energy. And when I take into the consideration this contrast and the energy that is coming from the whale and the energy that is coming from this conflict and this obstacle, this heaviness, it almost feels like you can just really pull your energy out of something and leave it. Get a new vision, get your power back, cut it off, cut it away, leave it. And find, it almost feels like find a deeper calling. Go deeper. Remember who you are, remember your capacities, remember what you can create here. We can create conflict, we can create control, we can create a very materialistic level of life, we can create obstacles for one another in this world, indeed, but we can also create something much beneficial. We have a choice. And it almost feels like you are in a moment in that you are asked to connect with a much more clarity, much more clear vision about your life, pulling your power back from these conflicts and going through some kind of like remembering your soul, remembering the earth, remembering the sound of your soul, the sound of the earth. There is like a medicine for this conflict, clear communication for a conflict. So I hope that this will make sense to you. Thank you for joining me. And I will move on to the next pile. Okay, so welcome to reading number 2 for pile number 2. I have an animal card. I will pull some more cards from tarot. And it will be like a clarifying story. And the theme is healing of family patterns or ancestral patterns. Anything that can be healed in your life, anything that can change or shift right now in your life as you are listening to this. So you have a crow. It's a very powerful symbol, very powerful medicine, because crow is like seeing to the other side, understanding the other side. Crow is like this magical energy, like this alchemical energy. And crow is also like connection with the shadow. What is it that I pushed away from my life? and it just keeps sabotaging my life maybe? What is it that I need to see in my life right now? What is it that is maybe somehow manipulating my life? Because Crow has really that capacity to see that what is hidden. At the same time, with the Crow, there is like this little warning, like if you constantly focus your energy in things that are not working, they will come alive and they will eventually eat you up. Meaning, that if you throw out a lot of negativity will come back to you. If you constantly see what's wrong, what's bad, it can consume you. It can be like very consuming. So it's a powerful medicine of seeing these shadow things, but also recognizing that we can't drown in it. Yeah, we can't constantly be pushing in it, and then it comes alive and it basically dominates our life. You have, wow, this is getting interesting. You have 7 of Cups. Wow, you have the Devil card. Please do not be scared. If you belong to those people who are scared of these scary images of the tarot, please don't. I will explain very clearly what it means. And then we have beautiful, we have 4 of Wands. We have 4 of Wands. It is fascinating that you have the Crow medicine, because it almost feels like you have capacity to look very, very deeply into something in your life or in your family system that was like this very manipulative energy, very heavy energy, something very like toxic or addictive, and something maybe abusive, because that's the Devil card. Yeah, the Devil card is a symbol that is showing up, that is showing us where do we abuse our energy, where are we chained to something very unhealthy. And it is usually showing up, for example, when we have like some kind of heavy addictions like alcohol addiction or sexual abuse, a lot of trauma in life, a lot of like this heaviness, a lot of door opened in our life for heaviness to come. And if you know how energy works, the energy usually works that what is present in your life, you keep attracting more of it. So usually when there is unhealed trauma, for example, from childhood, from some kind of abuse or addiction, you will notice a pattern, very specific pattern for majority of people, that you just keep piling that heavy energy. You just keep, it's like door open, very unhealthy, toxic door open in your life that continue leaking, like bad things into your life. And it almost feels like with the Crow energy, there is suddenly this capacity to see it, capacity to see what is toxic in my life. Where are these toxic doors that are open in my life? And above all, how do I close them? How do I cut it off? How do I let it go? Because we are not here to live in such toxicity. We are not here to live in such abuse. We are not here to be constantly in these very heavy energies. They do not belong to us. They have been here, indeed, on earth, do not belong to us. So this is basically talking about coming back to yourself, coming back to that natural goodness, coming back to that wholeness, and closing door behind these heavy energies. The 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups is very interesting. It is a card of disillusion. It is a card of not knowing where to go, what to choose, what is it that will fulfill me. It almost feels like living your shadow self. It almost feels like living your shadow self because of some kind of trauma. Maybe there have been some kind of trauma that took your energy away, that took your identity away. It almost feels like living like an empty shell that maybe you don't know who you are, you don't know what to do with your life, because it feels heavy. It feels heavy. It almost feels like there is like this heavy toxic energy. And the crow is saying here, like, now I can see it. Now I can see it. I can see how it came to life in my life. I can see how it showed up in my life. These very heavy patterns, these very toxic energies. And it almost feels like now you have capacity to come out of it. Four of Wands, and specifically here for you, I'm hearing sacred refuge. I am hearing two words, sacred refuge. The moment you take sacred refuge, the moment you take sacred refuge, these energies will start leaving your life. And taking a sacred refuge can be like a vow with yourself that this is leaving. Yeah, that you will not repeat, for example, alcohol addiction, or that you will not repeat some kind of abusive behavior, these type of things. Making a vow with yourself and taking a sacred refuge. Taking a sacred refuge. Making that choice right now that I will not repeat that what my ancestors did repeat. And I will take protection. And you can take protection in in prayer. You can take protection in it really depends from what culture you are. Some people will find refuge in church and in religion. Some people will find refuge in mindfulness and Buddhist practices and nature. It just really depends, but create for yourself, start creating for yourself a sacred refuge. Make a very conscious choice that, oh, I see it. I see how this is like repeating in my life, this kind of constant disillusion and not knowing what to choose in my life and attracting all these heavy energies and maybe misuse of power on some level. And I have been maybe chained to toxic relationships or toxic places, and now like I see it. And I am taking this sacred refuge and I'm cutting this off, I'm cutting this away. Yeah. I am making a new vow with myself to be in sacred reciprocity with life, not in toxicity. This is beautiful. There is a symbol of ascending the mountain. Keep going forward. Keep going forward. So if you have been dealing with this heaviness or challenges in your life, with this very heavy energy, that is like basically a message, keep going. Just keep going. There is person that is ascending, and as you ascend in consciousness, as you ascend in your practice, as you start connecting with this sacred refuge, this will have to leave because you will no longer be matched for that. So it is somehow part of your ascension process. It is somehow part of your healing process. And you can take refuge in mountains if you resonate with that. You can take refuge in nature. For some of you, you can take refuge even in religion if you feel called to, like going to church and praying. It really depends from what part of the world you are and what is your tradition and what is your worldview. But it almost feels like you are called to start connecting with something stable, something sacred. It almost feels like there is a victory over this adversity in your life as you continue going forward. If possibly you are going through some healing or therapy and you are moving through these heavy layers in your life, then this is just like a confirmation saying, yeah, keep on going, keep on going. The moment the energy shifts, you will be set free from this. Take sacred refuge, continue going. Continue connecting with what is sacred. Sacred relationships, sacred home, sacred refuge. You can even take refuge in your mindfulness practice or whatever that is for you. You can go You can go on a pilgrimage and connect with a sacred mountain. But it almost feels like there is a confirmation that this is leaving. This is leaving. It's something that you will overcome. And it almost feels like the path is pretty clear. Maybe it's not an easy path, a lot of mountains. Yeah, maybe that process is not exactly an easy one, but it almost feels like that the path is pretty clear. The path is pretty clear for you. So I hope it makes sense. I hope that you will be able to take something out of this. Oh, I'm sorry. Hit my camera. And that it will somehow work for you. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will move to the final one. Hi everybody and welcome pile number 3. Today we are reading messages for healing, maybe for healing something in the family system or within your ancestral lineage, or maybe just anything that is showing up right now for your life. And these will be like healing messages or confirmations, maybe some hints for you to explore. I am not reading your future, I'm not reading your past. I just want to be very clear about this. I am inviting you to this healing story, and I'm inviting you to sit with it. Take what resonates with you and take it to your meditation, take it to your prayer, take it to your practice, see for yourself. Because ultimately we are all healers. Ultimately, we have this capacity to change. Okay, so I will pull some more cards and we will dive into the story. Okay, so otter. The animal symbol is otter, which is beautiful, very feminine energy, very playful energy, very like going with the flow, playing. It is also connected with sensuality or even healing something deep that has to do with sexuality. So let's see how the story unfolds. There is 5 of Cups, which is usually connected with like grief and loss. Then we have Wheel of Change. And then we have the Fool card, 2 major arcanas that are talking about change and new beginnings. So this is beautiful. It almost feels like you may be in a process of healing some kind of grief, sadness, loss. Maybe you lost someone in your life recently. Maybe you feel loss when you see what's going on in the world. This is like usually a grieving process. Yeah, there is like this black robe, seeing what is not working, seeing the loss. But with the 5 of Cups, it is important to see that not everything was lost. Not everything was lost in this process. There are still cups standing behind this person's back, but the person doesn't have yet capacity to see them. So it almost feels like you are invited to start slowly opening up, maybe after some kind of deep loss or pain. This is usually like connected with the heart energy, you know, like emotional grief, emotional pain, emotional loss, sadness. And it almost feels like you are slowly and gently invited to start coming out of this grieving season or this loss and start seeing again what is working in my life, what is present in my life, what is it that I can take from this and continue moving in my life. It almost feels like rediscovering on some levels your joy, your playfulness, flowing with life. Because grief, loss, sadness, they can isolate us. They can isolate us a lot. And there is like this calling for a change. There is almost like a changing of seasons, that you will be healed from this grief. You will be healed from this loss. You will have again strength and capacity to rediscover your playfulness, your joy, flowing with life. The Fool card. The Fool card is interesting because it is like this clear sheet of paper, new beginning, releasing oneself from something. So it almost feels like this season of loss, this season of grief is somehow coming to an end. There is some kind of relief or release. It doesn't mean that we will never be sad again. It doesn't mean that that we will not lose anybody or anything in this world. This is a world in that we come without nothing and we leave without nothing. That's how this world works. But maybe there was some kind of much deeper layer of grief, much deeper layer of sadness than usual. Maybe there was even something passed from your ancestors, like this very deep underlying emotional energy for you, maybe for some of you even for the whole of your life, like this sadness, that you couldn't understand, this underlying grief that you couldn't understand. And it may have been connected on a very, very deep level with your ancestors, with your family system, something that you inherited even. And maybe for some of you it is just like a recent loss that you are grieving. Maybe you have been grieving in these past years some deep losses. And there is an invitation to come out from this, to connect with life again, to connect with the flow of life again, to connect with that playfulness again. And to come out of that like clean. It almost feels like receiving a clean sheet of paper into your life. And there is like this sense of new beginning. I will pull out one more card for this group just to see what is that clear sheet connected with, what is that new beginning. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. So there is, for some of you, there is a message that you have been working on something. Almost like you have been working hard on something in your life, which is Seven of Pentacles, hard work, patience, seeding the right seeds into your life. And maybe for some of you, you have been like sad. Maybe you have been grieving. Maybe you have lost hope on some levels that your harvest could come. And this is almost saying like, your harvest is coming. Your harvest is coming. There is this new beginning or new opportunity, things improving. And for some of you, it is talking about be patient and dedicated as you come out of this grief. Be patient, be loving, be, really steady when coming out of this loss and grief. There is something new that can grow in your life. You can plant new seeds into your life. It is about planting new seeds in connection with the Fool card and the Seven of Pentacles. There's almost like an invitation to start cultivating new seeds in your life, for that new beginning to show up, to start showing up in your life, for this bigger change to start showing up in your life. For some of you, it may take some time because it almost feels like you still feel on a deep level that loss. And maybe you are not yet ready to see this big change that is literally behind your back. It almost feels like there is something really new or new possibility, shift of seasons, literally right behind your back. And maybe you are still not yet ready, not quite ready to see that, and it's okay. because it almost feels like eventually you will be able to turn around and see this. You will be able to turn around and receive this new beginning, receive this opportunity. And the strategy for that somehow is like really getting lighter, getting more playful, connecting with life, maybe in some new ways, in some new possibilities. Okay, that's beautiful. I feel like that's it. I feel like the story revealed itself. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you found some resonance here, some hints, insights, or inspiration. Thank you once and again, and I will connect with you soon with another video. We will do once and again some practice, and we will find another interesting theme to cover. So thank you, and bye-bye for now.